when they were walking around and she felt good.
The child.
The child,
Okay.
when she came in, because she was like, this is nice. I wasn't expecting this. But one of her sisters said, if I get put in a group home, I wanted to be this one.
Yeah, the
We're
sisters
like,
didn't want to leave.
Get put in a group home. That's not the goal here.
Yeah.
Trust and believe. We lead with love, but we're leaders.
Yes.
And, I was talking to you about that when you and I were chatting, is the leadership is key.
Right.
We're strong female leaders, and we're building strong female leaders. That's our goal.
Welcome to the Willpower Hour podcast, where we help individuals elevate their lives through personal development, start with the mindset. So here I have
Shameka Pipkin.
And Felicia Weaver.
and Felicia, Shemeka and Felicia. Yes. So we are out here in Columbus, Georgia. I thought it was the country.
See?
So these two young ladies have a beautiful youth group home, which we are actually currently in. And I think they did a good job. So I just want to ask y'all some questions and, just kind of get to know a little bit about who y'all are. So whoever want to start, tell me a little bit about who you are.
You want me to start?
Sure.
Do I need to be looking at the camera, William, or looking at you like, where's my angle exactly?
You don't have to necessarily
Okay.
because it's just us.
Okay, gotcha. So I'm Felicia Weaver. I am the mother of 3 girls.
Okay.
3 beautiful girls. Born and raised in Columbus, Georgia. Worked in corporate America. I'm in 24 years now, but I've always had a passion for uplifting youth. So got a calling one day, and it's funny about me and my sister-in-law. I think it hit us around the same time. And we just decided, hey, let's get it rolling. Let's make a difference with the young ladies.
So y'all's sister-in-law?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Partner. But for this right now, partner.
Yes.
Now, what about yourself?
What? Okay. Is it on?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'm Shameka Pipkin, and like my sister-in-law was saying, it actually happened. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about myself. I'm 48 years old.
Okay.
I'm a mother of 3, grandmother of 3 as well. I contracted overseas, maybe 8+ years total. Afghanistan, Kuwait, and Iraq. So when I was in Kuwait, we were on vacation. I was on R&R, and we were in Florida, and we were out by the pool, having a good time, playing cards, barbecuing. And I was just like, we talking, and I'm just like, it's time to get it going. We got to put it in motion, because we had talked about it for like a year or so prior to getting it up off the ground. So then I came home in August because I was injured, and from that point on, we just started to get everything going and in motion, because we kids, you know what I mean, they're the future to me.
Most
you know
definitely.
what I mean? And God don't play about old people and kids. So we were told, don't do girls, don't do girls, and we looking at each other like, we're girls.
Yeah, we're girls.
So why not do girls? So we're gonna do girls.
Right.
And just to let them know, like, regardless of where you start, it has nothing to do with where you're gonna end.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So we servants of the Lord first. So that's our what drives us. You know what I mean? Doing godly things in general. with kids, and we're philanthropists. I feel like, you know what I mean.
not a field you are.
Yeah, something like that.
So you said you contracted overseas.
Mm-hmm.
Were you in the military?
No, I was a contractor
Doing what exactly?
supporting the military.
Oh, okay.
Once the towers, once that happened,
Uh-huh.
yeah. So contractors have to be there to support the military.
I like that. I like that. Now, you did say something key. You said that basically where you start basically doesn't determine, where you end up at.
Right.
And it's cool to see that 2 women for sure coming together, working together, and basically family, whether it's blood or not.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
y'all doing something good for other young girls that hopefully they'll be able to connect with their roommates or housemates and be able to do something great in the future. Because, we live in a time now everybody in competition.
Right.
You can't trust family and things like that. So to see y'all to actually do it, and do it for these girls and whatever other backstory, is for, I like that. So I salute y'all for sure.
Thank you. And we come from humble beginnings.
Yes.
Ourselves. We didn't grow up in the best of areas. We had very little, just enough to survive.
Right.
Growing up. And that's one of the things that's important for us is to really, utilize ourselves and our history to say it doesn't matter, how you grew up.
For sure.
Opportunities were few, but how can you create those opportunities? And I tell you this, William, we had to create an opportunity with this several times. Wasn't easy. So I know we'll get into the journey
Most definitely.
in a little bit. But yeah, the goal is to really just show girls that, it doesn't matter what life was. It's about where you are now and where you want to go.
And I like that.
Yeah.
That's a strong message for, a lot of people who going to watch this at someday. Someday it might be 10, 20 years from now. Somebody
Right.
going to watch this and hear that you said that and what you said. And I think that people need to understand, like, that's just the foundational part of living. And that's just things that we have to really live by. And you mentioned that you basically created an opportunity.
Yeah.
I most definitely want to hear about that because, there's people out there, and we were just talking about it, like, they say they want to do these youth group homes or do something in general, and they don't really understand how much what comes with it. And some people are not just ready for what life is going to throw at them.
Yeah.
Like I told you, my backstory, just, 2 years ago, I hit a financial roadblock that either could have laid me down or I could use that as an opportunity to try to see how I can get back here. But of course, my journey, I'm back 2 years later because I didn't stop. But I don't want to make it about me. And I really want to hear y'all's situation about you creating an opportunity out of this. Because I know that this not easy. You playing with the state. You playing with vulnerable kids. You playing with their advocates and things like that.
Right.
So what was that opportunity that you all had to create for not only yourselves, but young girls to have a place that they can call home?
You wanna take that big or you wanna
What? Well, so we didn't really have, that roadmap, what we're willing to give to other people
Right.
that wants to venture off into this lane. Everything we learned, we was learning as we go.
For sure.
And sometimes, you can have gatekeepers that think you got to come through them to do this. Well, you have to come over here, to do this. But with resilience and with God first, yes, resilience and God first and perseverance.
You're right.
Each time we kind of hit a roadblock, we take another recourse. You know what I mean? And it was rough. It was times we had to motivate each other to keep going. She's, in that zone like, geez, because it was almost 3 years.
Right. 3 years of the
3 years.
Yeah. It was a long haul.
3 years.
That's and that's the part I want to touch on because when we started, it was all about finding the property.
Right.
You make a decision. You can't enter this process if you don't have a property. So finding the property, and I want to give kudos to my partner, my sister-in-law, my family, because we were blindly walking.
Right.
And we spotted something, and anything that she asked for, I was there. But anything I asked her to do, she was right on the spot. So, when we found this property, we came in and it was, I can't even say it was a blank canvas because it wasn't. It was a canvas that had been painted over,
Right.
rotted and everything. So we came in and, she was really the source behind pushing that needle to get this house renovated.
Right.
She was running back and forth to the stores, and this is just how we kind of split things up. She was handling this, I was handling the administrative side. So while she was arguing with contractors firing and hiring and firing again, because we had to go through a few people to finally get finished. But, you know, she was there on that end, and I was on the administrative side.
Right.
Both sides were a huge struggle. And like you said, when you're working with the state, you know, you have to be very specific. You also have to be, you know, diplomatic, and just remember that, you know, it's their rules and you got to abide by them.
Most definitely.
You know, and they're strict. They're tough. So you're not always going to get that sweet bedside manner.
Right.
You know, you just got to kind of roll with it. So, you know, because I like to say I try to be as diplomatic as I can. But, you know, that was a struggle. And that's what took us so long is, for one, we didn't know what we were walking into. It was like research and go. Research again and go. You know, and this person said they need this, so you got to research and go. And that's what a lot of it was. We had to get our hands slapped a couple times, you know, by the state, and you know, sent back to the classroom and work on it again. You know, but we stuck it out. And what a lot of people don't realize is, especially in the state of Georgia, getting licensed is one thing.
Right.
But getting contracted is another. Yeah. And now, you know, the state is really locking it down to where, you know, they're not just going to hand over kids that are in the state's custody if you aren't contracted.
Right.
You know, you can be licensed all day long, but that's one process. Contracting is just as tough. Yeah. And we didn't know that. We thought you get licensed, you get kids.
Yeah. The same thing with Texas. Texas have it set that way. You get the license, and then, of course, you got to apply for the contracts and stuff. So...
yeah.
But I want to touch on something. So it sounds like it's safe to say that, you know, accountability is a big key in, obviously, y'all journey, but in life in general. Yeah. Because, you know, when somebody is at a negative, you need somebody at a positive, and vice versa.
Gotta be.
And it's just not in just, like, relationships that, like, are intimate. It's sisterships, partnerships, friendships, all those type of ships. So I like that, and it seemed like that's part of what kept y'all going. Like, if one is dragging, like, hey, sis, I got you.
Gotta pick it up. Gotta pick it back up. Gotta go. Because you do want to, you know, there are days where you want to quit. Yeah. You know, and especially when we were in just trying to get this house together and up to code, you know, coming every day, and that's what you're doing every day. And some days you just like, I can't stand to go. I don't want to be over there. Right. You know, and it got to the point where it was making both of us sick because we were living it and breathing it all day, every day. So, yeah.
I can imagine that. So, with y'all being partners, you know, because sometimes we say, hey, watch who you partner with. We say, hey, sometimes friends and families are not the best partners, but obviously y'all are living testimony. And not to say that, you know, y'all didn't have no hiccups in the road amongst each other. That's just life in general with when you're dealing with people. But was there anything that y'all may have put in place, like any agreements, or was it just like, hey, this is all off of love, we know each other's heart, you know, integrity, this is how we gonna roll with this partnership? You know, was it anything y'all put in place?
It was off love.
Okay.
Yeah. And we didn't lead with greed.
Okay.
Or money. You know what I mean? Like I say, our first thing for us was doing God's will and His work. Right. And then, you know, at the same time, you can build an empire and a legacy and create generational wealth for your family, your kids, and your grandkids. And so that was our second drive, you know, after doing God's will. So it was just on the
strength.
Yeah, like hey, we're doing it, and you know, and that's what it was. Like, I mean, we love each other. You know, our relationship is not based off her and my brother, you know, their relationship. We have a genuine, solid relationship, you know.
I like that.
And that'll come to as we grow. Because again, like she said, it's about building an empire and expansion.
Right.
And we did this, coming from the heart. I knew what her strengths were. She knew what mine were. I know if we got a contractor that comes and want to talk funny and, price gouge.
Right.
I send her right on out with the shades on. And I always tell people, I'm trying to be nice, but if I have to open up the gate and let
calm before the storm.
Right, let the storm come through. And we're both strong business women.
Right.
And it's I build off of her strength, she builds off of mine. And do we always see eye to eye? No. We don't. But, we always remember, hey, we can't do this.
Right.
You can go through staff, you can go through, contractors. But like we said last night when we were sitting here, like, we know we're not going anywhere. So we got to figure out whatever we have going on because we're not going anywhere.
For sure.
And that's the only way that we can continue to build. You got to be strong on one side, in this area. And I wouldn't want anybody or partner with anybody that has the exact same qualities that I have.
Right.
Because who's going to handle those things that I may be weaker at?
Right.
So, yeah.
And that's dope. I think that's key. Like I said, kind of finding, that opposite at times, or that person who can handle certain things that you can't handle. Just like, hey, if you know that you a ticking bomb, but she's like, hey, let me go and talk to him this time, sis. And then it might switch.
Stand down, sis. Let me just, before we go that route, I always say, just stand down. Let me just kind of see if I can, get us there. And if that don't work, then okay, I'm just gonna release.
Right.
Try to warn you. Okay. But yeah.
I love it. Like I said, y'all are part of the 1% group. There's many people out there I don't recommend it for, but hearing just knowing who you are for the time that, we've seen each other, talked and things like that, I can tell that if you're in partnership with her and vice versa, that it was built off more than just the transactional level.
Right.
It had to be some love, some integrity, getting to know where a person's heart and mind is right. Because that's how I am. I'm like, before I ever have a transaction with you, I got to see where your heart and mind is at. Because too many people are fueled by the dollar. Yeah. I don't want nobody fueled by the dollar, because if the Lord say the same and we live long enough, there's going to be plenty of dollars to come based off of our value and hard work that we put in our ministry work.
Right.
So, but I do want to ask, because I'm pretty sure people who's going to watch this, they're going to want to know. So who do you all actually serve? Like, where are these young ladies coming from? Are they coming from the state, a third party? Are they runaways, prison? I'm not prison, but juvenile. Where are you getting these young ladies from?
We are licensed by the state of Georgia and contracted with the Georgia Department of Juvenile Justice.
Okay.
We serve girls between the ages of 12 and 17. It could be an array of things that, that have placed them in the system. By the time they come to us, they've been approved by the judge to leave and enter a less secure environment,
right.
A residential setting. So once they come to us, they pretty much, serve their time on paper.
Okay.
And then they stay with us for, could be a 3-month stay, could be a 6-month stay, could be a year stay. Just depends on, the program. We also are on the list with the Department of Juvenile Justice for youth that are awaiting court dates.
Okay.
So, we offer a temporary housing situation for them while they await their actual sentencing. Yeah.
Okay. So, these young girls, where are they coming from? Are they coming from like a parent home? Just got too hectic, they got in trouble, went sent to juvenile, and of course they didn't do enough of bad or anything negative to just be going straight, into like the juvenile center or whatever. To stay in the juvenile department, and maybe it's not yet time for them to go home. So are y'all acting like that middle placement to like prepare them for the transition?
Yeah, it's once they've been released. And what we're starting to see a lot of are youth that have been placed in other group homes in the area that it didn't work out.
Okay.
There are youth that have, run away.
For sure.
Once they are, retrieved by the state, then they place them back into in the YDC and look for other alternatives.
You said YDC?
The Youth Detention Center.
Okay, got
Yeah.
you. Got you.
Because they're ultimately coming from the Youth Detention Center when we get them. Cool. They either awaiting, trial to go, but once we get them, they've served time in the Youth Detention Center.
Okay. So are y'all providing in like treatment services or anything like that? Okay.
You can talk about that because I know you
Yesterday,
partner with River. We're
River
partners.
Town.
Yeah.
Is that like what is the
So
who is
so
that?
it kind of just depends on the need
Okay.
of the child, because they all will have different needs, different counseling. Some of them may need more psychiatric,
For sure.
help than others. But with Rivertown Psychiatric, we're partnering with them to kind of get them with their med management and the counseling, and just trying with the girls. I want to say this, like me and Felicia with Family for You, we're trying to change the whole trajectory of kids hearing group home and it's an automatic negative in their minds. You know what I mean? They're already tensed up. They're coming in ready to run, or you know what I mean, just ready to not. I'm gonna do what I. You know what I mean?
Right,
do what I want, not be compliant. And so when they come in here, we set out for them to just it feel like a home. We didn't want it to be like a facility, where
an institution.
yeah, like like it's home.
Look, this party laid out better than our home. Look, you
We spend a lot of time around
Yes.
here. So that was important.
Very important. We were told you don't have to do much. Don't put so much money in, And I was like, well, we dealing with kids. They're children. They're scared. It's the unknown. They don't know where they're going, what they're walking into.
most definitely.
So initially, we just wanted them to feel like, you're walking into a place where it's home. Y'all are extended family, home away from home, and we treat them like our kids.
Mm-hmm. That's the name. When
Yeah.
she and I were talking, Family for You, we kept trying to figure out, okay, we said home for you, like that's kind of hotel.
Right.
Family us, all this stuff, and then we were like, family for
you.
you. Family for
The
you.
family for you, yes.
Yeah.
I like it because some people don't put much thought into these things, and how can I say it? I guess a lot of stuff start with psychology.
Yeah.
So when we start breaking it down, now it's like, hey, what causes certain behavior issues for not just kids in general, but humans? But if we just want to keep it at kids, just think about the situation. Most of the time, it's environment, the things that they've been through, certain triggers, and y'all have it was comfortable walking in.
Yeah.
It was like y'all don't have no. To me, don't look like y'all have any cheap floors. Y'all got some nice, good floors.
Yeah,
the colors,
It wasn't cheap.
I can tell. Look, the colors.
Yeah.
Like it smell good walking in here. So I think y'all did a good job with that, and I think that's important that most people like. Yes, these kids are in the system, whether it's the juvenile system or just the foster system in general. That don't mean that they do not deserve a great spot,
absolutely.
a great place, because now you also are painting that picture for them what it looks like that one day, if the Lord say the same, they grow up, have their own kids, they know, okay, I want to stay in a nice house, nice area. I want to be who Felicia and Shameka was for me to my kids and other people. So I most definitely like, because that's exactly how we gonna have our home. I don't care if the boys gonna come and tear it up, but I just starting off, I want to show it.
That's the same thing they would tell us.
And we had this argument with people to the point where we're like, we're not talking about that anymore. This is what we want, and I'll tell you this, William. When our first girl walked through the door, and her mother and sisters came with her, and we had to kind of shift it, but when they were walking around and she just felt felt good.
The child.
The child, when
Okay.
she came in, because she was like, this is nice. I wasn't expecting this. But one of her sisters said, if I get put in a group home, I wanted to be this one.
Yeah, the
We're
sisters
like,
didn't
"You're
want to
not gonna
leave.
get put in a group home." That's not the goal here.
Yeah.
But just to hear that, it just reaffirmed what Shameka and I already. That was our mindset. People say, you get new couches, you get new this, it's gonna get tore.
We'll buy some more.
Yeah, and not only that, that's a conversation that we have, and we have it on the daily.
Right.
Respect yourself,
Mm-hmm.
respect your space, and respect this house.
Yes.
That's it.
It sound like you're setting the tone, and you
Yeah.
also are setting the culture.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where it starts. So we're sitting here. We in the youth home. We're not gonna say group home. We're gonna say the youth home, their home. I hadn't heard much screaming, yelling, tussling, things like that. Is this fairly normal, or what? Have you had any experiences where like it went down in this home because of the kids?
No, not that it went down. I think we expected certain things to kind of come about or transpire because we're dealing with girls.
For sure.
They're coming from different walks of life. They're coming from a very locked down environment, so they need to acclimate, you know
Right.
what I mean, back to just being in a normal environment. No, it's just the norm. Everything that we put in place that people told us not to do has worked in our favor.
Yeah.
Seriously, like it has. So,
And I think my advice too, and I want to make sure we get this, is
Most definitely.
people are gonna give you their opinions. People will talk to others in the industry, and that's one of the things that sometimes gets me. You and I are in the group homes for newbies group, and there's always a lot of people that say, oh, this is how you need to do it, and this is how you need to do it. I think we're all adults.
Most definitely.
If you decide to embark on a journey to open a business, you got to have some type of business acumen. Thus, you're not an idiot. To put it plainly. So I think, you have to be in the mindset of doing things how you feel like you want to do it.
Correct.
And I think it's important, we're always open to constructive feedback. Love feedback, because that lets me know, okay, this is the thought. But just remember, at the end of the day, it's your decision how you want to do things in your business. And that's the stance that we took.
Right.
We took that stance when it came down to decorating. We took that stance on some of the things that we chose to incorporate in our home. And trust and believe. We lead with love, but we're leaders.
Yes.
And I was talking to you about that when you and I were chatting, is the leadership is key.
Right.
We're strong female leaders, and we're building strong female leaders. That's our goal. So we stepped out on faith, and we will choose to do things that fit best for us. And I think everybody has to remember that when you decide to do something like this, you got to establish your own principles.
That's it.
And stand on them. You'll get opinions, you'll get people that are in the industry that say no, don't do it this way, but you try and try again. If it doesn't work, we don't have an issue pivoting. And that's key for us. Are there gonna be arguments? Yeah, you got teenage girls in the house.
Right.
They spend a lot of time together. So there will be disagreements. You go on outings. There's a front seat, the back seat, those conversations. It's like having, it's like I leave my daughters and come to my daughters.
There you go.
And we understand that. We used to argue with siblings and stuff like that. So what we see is been pretty normal. Our goal was to establish a place, for if you have youth that are used to running away, is create a space that makes them not want to run. Like, that was our big thing. Okay, you'll run away. We got something that you may not want to run away from. That's key. We had a referral that we had to pass up and then we double checked around and, said, okay, well, let's try to get her in here. And she ran away from where she was, and I was asking Shameka, I'm like, do you think that if we had her, would she be on the runaway list right now? So, that's something that we kind of kicked in on us. It's like, could we have made that difference?
I like that you mentioned that. I mean, it is important to, just kind of come in with how you want things and see things. Of course, you could take the opinions and things like that, but keep it in your back pocket or use it where you see fit. And it's good that, I mean, how long y'all been operating so far?
Well, we've been in this journey for 3.5 years?
Do you mean starting the process or how long?
Just actually opening.
Open. Oh, it's been
almost
a month.
Yeah, it hadn't even been too long.
Yeah. It haven't been a month?
No.
Mm-hmm. We got contracted with, like I said, it's one thing to be licensed, but to get contracted, that's another thing.
I thought y'all had been at least operating for about a year or so.
We've been, this place has been set up and ready to roll, and, we haven't had any issues.
I salute y'all. Yeah. I really, really do. I salute y'all, especially knowing that it's only been about a month.
Mm-hmm.
And for anybody out there watching, you just have to understand, basically, like, hey, do what works for you, and just follow the path. Even if you fail, just fail forward. Mm-hmm. And nothing is gonna ever be easy, I guess we could say.
Right.
Like, but if you get through it, it's gonna be well worth it.
Yeah.
So, I want to ask. You said y'all working on another project or contract, right?
Yeah, we're trying to get the DFACS contract. Well, we will get the DFACS contract.
Who is DFACS or who are they serving?
They're the Department of Family and Children's Services.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's every state pretty much has it. That ours is just called that. But these are youth that are, pulled from the home for various reasons. Abuse, neglect, things like that.
Yeah, I went straight for juvenile before trying to get like kids in the system, foster system.
Oh yeah, we weren't playing.
Intentional.
We're not scared over here.
Right.
We that's another thing. That this is a tougher side of it.
Yeah.
DFACS is different because a lot of those kids placed in DFACS, they didn't make a bad decision or a choice. Mm-hmm. It's a different
population.
Yeah.
And I'm glad you said that too, because a lot of people, I see people sometimes on the internet, they refer to the kids in the system as bad kids at times. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, hey, these kids ain't bad. Majority of them, I mean, they was placed there out of things that was out of their control. Mm-hmm. Now, if they develop, maybe some mental health or behavior issues that I guess you could say consider them to be bad kids. I mean, technically they're not really bad kids, so that's good that you pointed that out.
Yeah.
So is there a certain population within DFACS that y'all are going to be shooting for?
Well, we're going for this particular project that we're looking at next is the maternity homes. So those will be, of course, youth that have, gotten pregnant and can't remain in their actual home with their actual family. So, yeah.
That's different. Mm-hmm. You don't hear a lot of maternity homes. I mean, I just interviewed somebody about a week or two prior to this, and she has a maternity home out in Houston. Mm-hmm. And I, to think about it, like when you mentioned maternity home, she mentioned maternity home. I'm like, it is a lot of mothers out there with kids that don't have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
So I think that is good. And these mothers will be mothers in the system.
Mm-hmm.
So you're choosing to house them that has kids,
right? And you have, some situations, when teenagers get pregnant, they can't remain in the home for whatever reason. There's a need for that in Georgia. Georgia, from a DFACS perspective, has a need for maternity homes because there are very few. I want to say maybe 3. But yeah.
Well, we got to hurry up and get y'all going with that because it's probably going to only get worse. Mm-hmm. As they keep making babies and stuff like that, especially because of their vulnerable situation.
Mm-hmm. You said it right there. A lot of those kids, these aren't choices. They're not conscious decisions.
Right.
They're decisions that stem from trauma that they've experienced. So yeah.
Okay. So, where do you see yourself in the next 6 months to a year? Anything outside of the maternity homes? You know, maybe going to buy some land. 100 acres of land or something like that, and maybe selling it to me or something. I'm joking. But anything in the next 6 months to a year, or just maybe focus.
Well, 6 months to a year.
Yeah, that's not a lot of time. The way time is flying.
Right.
Right.
Because we're hoping in the same time wavelength of doing a maternity home to be doing a boys home.
Okay.
At kind of the same time.
Okay.
For me, my plan is I want to buy some land and move away or whatnot or whatever. But
did I give you the idea?
No, I've always
Okay.
I've just said I've always said it. I've always said I didn't really want to just reside in Columbus, Georgia.
For sure.
And but I gotta have a heck of a partner here.
Yeah.
That if I'm needed, you know what I mean. It's too easy for me to get back here. You know what I mean. She needs me for anything, but like she said, she's been in corporate America for a long time. So she's savvy. She done sat in different rooms with all kind of head honchos. So she got me. She can hold us down unless I just need to be here. If I do, I'll do what it takes to to come back. You know what I mean? Because it's one team, one fight. So, but yeah, I don't. She'll be here.
Well, I love it. So, as we start to conclude this, I want to know from each one of y'all, what is something that you do daily, weekly, maybe monthly, that keeps you sane, that keeps you balanced, at resilience?
I can't answer that because I don't know yet.
Well, for me, I that's where I, you know what I mean. Yes,
Okay.
my the word is kind of what keeps
I was
me.
about to say, span in on
Yeah,
that book
keeps me
right
going.
there.
That's kind of what keeps me going. And I have an uncle that's in the nursing home. I go there a lot.
Okay.
Just doing a lot of humanitarian work. For the both of us is what kind of keep us going. I lost a son, so yeah, so it's God and him alone that has kept me.
For sure.
Since I lost my kid or whatnot or whatever. So that's the head of mine, and it's the head of hers too. But me per se, the trauma that I've kind of endured, is on a different level.
Right.
So I kind of hold on to that for dear life. Because if I turn it loose, I don't think I would even be sitting here, with you all.
I want to say you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
And I thank y'all for y'all contribution to society. If it's one advice that you would give some aspiring business owner, group home owner, in general, what is one advice you would give them?
Know the business. It's too easy to, because there are a lot of experts out here. It's too easy to, just pay somebody and say, hey, can you do this for me? That's something that I've seen quite a bit, in our arena. You have people that, say I want to open up a group home, and somebody says, okay, well, give me 10 bands and I'll do everything from start to finish.
Right.
Know your business, know what you're paying for, if you choose to go that route. And we used to go back and forth on this a lot, as we were struggling to get to where we are, saying, man, we should have paid somebody, we could have paid somebody to do this. But I'm like, a lot of times if you don't get it out of the mud, you miss a lot of key things. Because whoever is going to take it and take that 10 grand and do everything, you're still not as familiar as you need to be with it.
Right.
And we were laughing about this last night. You know, we have people that are saying things and, you know, talking about our policies and procedures. You know, we had a great laugh about this because, you know, we know our policies, we know our procedures, we know the requirements. Why? Because we lived it.
Mm-hmm.
We did it. We're knowledgeable about what we're doing here. And if you want to know about it, look at the policy and procedures.
I love it.
Yeah.
Shameka, you got anything?
I guess the one thing that I would like to leave with someone is that, you know, we funded everything ourselves.
Okay.
We didn't borrow money from the bank. And that's another thing that, you know, you should do your research with that as well. Mm-hmm. You know, because for 3 years, you know, we were shelling out and, you know, nothing was coming in.
Right.
And that became a little bit overbearing, you know, as well. So I guess because we didn't anticipate it taking that long, you know, like she was saying. But it was money well spent. You know what I mean? I don't regret it. I don't regret anything that we went through because everything that we went through, you know, has got us to where we are today.
Right.
You know, so if you're going to do it, you know, stay focused, you know, be solid. And if you're doing it with someone, y'all can't be unequally yoked. You know what I mean? You kind of got to be on
almost
the same.
like a marriage.
Yeah, yes, because that's what it is. And you know, and someone is not gonna quit on you,
right,
or give up when it gets tough.
Because we both wanted
gets
to quit
tough
at times, and we had to say, "Girl, come on here now. You know, take you a day or two, and you know, and give each other that time because you know, like with me." I'm still going into the office and still, you know, like I said, I do a shift there and then I come do a shift here. You know, and she I know what she's doing. She knows what I'm doing.
Right.
And you got to be able to give that other person the time and say, look, don't come back here.
Grace.
You know, and don't think about this place.
Mm-hmm.
You know, go relax. And just be that. You got to support one another. And, you know, I tell anybody, you know, you mess with her and she knows that you mess with one of us, you got to deal with the other person, and that's just the reality.
Dynamic duo.
Yeah, we right.
I love the energy. I most definitely do. But I'm just glad that y'all didn't give up. Cause these kids need y'all. Y'all need each other.
They do, yes.
Your families need y'all. And you know, I always try to tell people, like, you know, time is gonna pass by whether you keep going or you give up.
Right.
Doesn't
So
stop.
you know, you gotta kind of just
What you
choose
gonna
your
do with
heart.
it?
You
Yeah.
know, exactly. So you know, everything gets better with time, consistency, and focus. So thank you for not giving up. And I really appreciate you for allowing me into the girls' establishment.
Yes.
Come in here. That's why I'm telling you, everybody in the lounge now, We're
No.
gonna start doing a clearance and all of that to get you in here because it is sacred ground.
Yes.
So this is where they live.
Did you put some sage in the air before I walked in?
But you didn't know that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I thank you. I feel special. Like I said, I wanted to see the masterpiece that you had going on, especially after learning y'all's process. I mean, because I know it's not easy, you know. So, like I said, again, just thank you for not giving up and doing what you're doing. And I can't wait to see these other projects and you expanding on the home and the maternity homes and then
You
this
gotta
boys'
come
homes.
back.
Yes, you all have to come back.
I will. I'm probably going to have to catch a helicopter all the way out here from Atlanta.
Yeah, it's
It wasn't that bad.
No, it's not that bad.
We talked the majority of the way anyways.
Yeah, even flying from Columbus to anywhere, you have to stop in Atlanta, and it's a 20-minute, 15 at the most, 20 minutes.
Can you fly in to you?
Well, the
No.
airport is closed now.
Wow.
But you still can't fly in. You can fly out.
Okay.
Like when you stop in Atlanta, you know they won't let you take a flight from Atlanta to Columbus.
yeah.
You can fly out from here though to Atlanta. So
But
yeah, they
y'all are
don't.
in her old stomping ground because she used to live.
I used to live in Atlanta. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate y'all.
Appreciate you as well.
Catch
You
y'all
and
the
your
next
lovely
episode.
wife.